Hi, my name is Griffin, and today we're gonna see how we can make this cute little barrel, the Carol cactus. No, the Carol, the barrel cactus in Blender in 15 minutes. Let's go. Start off by making the base of the pot. All you need is to, scale the cube, and you get it, and then you insert, and you do that. Once you have the base of the pot ready, I'm just gonna duplicate the bottom and put it back on the top to make it look more cuter, because this is a very simple and simplistic kind of the design. We're gonna bevel it, and we're gonna click on auto smooth to get rid of the shading error. I'm quickly saving it because I don't want to lose it. Next thing, what do you want to do is make the cactus itself. So I'm using a UV sphere with about 26 segments, and use a proportional edit tool. Press O, and you know how to shape it. Just shape it in, and that's looking pretty cool. And you can shade smooth it to make it look better. Now I'm gonna just select the alternate edge loops so that you can make the pattern the cactus has, like how they would be indented. You know exactly what I mean when I'm done. Now it looks more like a cactus. It looks physically correct, even though I didn't do it on the first model I did. But what I thought, let me try it out. And I also did the same for the other one as well, and made it a bit more pronounced. Next, I use a circle to make the flower, and I inserted it a bunch of times. And I do the same as well. I just pick the alternate edge loops and move them up. I made sure I subdivided it to give it more shape. The next thing I did was add a solidify modifier to give it some depth. Not too much, just a little, it doesn't have to be too much. I'm just gonna place this right at the center of the cactus. Next thing we're gonna do, I'm just saving again. Don't mind that. We're gonna apply the scale for all the objects. Next thing, I'm making a spine, what do you call it? I don't really know. I'm making this spikes, spikes if you will. I'm just making the spikes. I just took a cube and merged the top 4 points, and now we have a pyramid shape. And we're gonna be instancing this as a particle. Now it looks all ugly because it's facing the wrong direction. So all you have to do to fix it, is make sure the scale is applied. Also, you have to rotate the object. It took me quite some time to figure out what I was doing, so that's me. And also for the density, I made sure I picked the vertex group that I selected. And now it only shows up on the words which we assigned. Now it looks cool. As you can see, there are some more spikes pointing out, so I just wanted to fix it real quick. So I selected the points that I wanted to remove by using the C or the circle selection, and clicked on remove. That way they are out of the spike vertex group. So when you go back to object mode, the spikes are no more on the places we said no more. I'm just adding a bevel modifier to the pot to make it more friendly. Next, what you have to do is texture it. So I start up by going to object mode and selecting the seams. There should be a texture pane, so UV editing, you can get away by not doing the UV edit, but I just wanted to make sure I did a proper UV projection or a proper UV unwrap as practice. Honestly, you could just get away with a smart UV project and you would just do fine. But well, I took the extra step to make it more better and easier to draw on even on the UV space. You can select all and press U and unwrap it, and we have a pretty decent looking UV unwrap. It's really good, honestly, when you think about it. The seams are at the places where you wouldn't see a seam, so it's all good. So now we go into texture paint and click on the plus to add a new image. We're creating an image to paint on, so make sure you name it, and I'm putting it on 2K resolution. It's 2048. Yes, and we're gonna tick off alpha because we don't need it. You can see me testing it out. Next, I go to the gradient tool and select the colors that I want to use: a lighter color and a darker color. You know, drag and experiment. But I figured out the best way was to directly do it on the 3D view. I thought, yeah, that looks cool. I can get away with that. Next thing we're gonna do is also give the materials to the next thing that I did was draw the eyes for the cactus. I ran into trouble of figuring it out how I was going to draw it. There was different designs I had in my mind, but the spikes were a bit annoying, so I couldn't really place them on the places I wanted to, and it actually ended up looking weird, and I didn't really use it for the final render. But you know, it's all a learning process. Even though it looked cute, and it still didn't look good on a 3D space, so I just had to get rid of it. I spent a lot of time on this, but yeah, sometimes some things don't just work out. It seemed weird because all the extrusions didn't really fit with the geometry of the eye. So I tried changing the seed to something that would not really stick out of the eye, because that would be weird. And yeah, I just picked one that seemed better. And also make sure you always name your objects. It really helps. Now we're gonna add a new texture to the flower by making sure it's selected and create a new texture for it. And we're gonna use the same 2K resolution for it. And yeah, make sure you actually press OK. Yeah, so I picked the color and went to the flat view mode so that I could paint. I tried painting, but that didn't work. It took me quite some time to figure out what the reason might be, and then realized there wasn't any UV. Yeah, it wasn't unwrapped, so yeah, the paint was going nowhere. After I UV unwrapped it, it was fairly simple. I could just paint it on both sides, and it would work fine. I just pick a yellow color for the middle of it. I didn't really look at references. This might be wrong, but you know, it looked cool. What really matters is that it makes some sense, and it did make some sense. I'm just using a mouse to do this, so it isn't the best, but also it does the job. I'm just shading it with very basic technique. I wouldn't really say it's a best method. I'm just switching it to screen to give the highlights and multiply to do the darker tones. And I'm also very sorry that you can hear random kids screaming. Yeah, I thought that looked cool, and I wanted to shade the cactus as well, so I went back into texture paint, and yeah, this was the time I realized the eyes didn't look as good, so I planned on getting rid of it, and yeah, that's how the eye disappeared. Now I just started texture painting the cactus. I used a screen and screen mix type or blend type, and just started painting all over the pointing points, or the points that should be more visible on the outside. You know, the points that are extruded. I went to the multiply to darken the layers or give it some shadow and give it some give it some depth. Sometimes I cannot speak. Also, this is a voiceover, so sometimes, you know, there are going to be awkward pauses, but yeah, now it looks pretty cool. Even without the eyes, it looks really cool. Now I'm just gonna give it a basic material for the pot. I wish I had made more details, but yeah, you know, at this point I was just speeding through it for the sake of the tutorial. I was trying to make it as quick as possible because my computer didn't have enough space. So what I'm doing right here is making the eye. I just took a plane and added some edge loops and kind of shaped it to plane, extruded it up a bit. Put a very reflective black texture to the eye. And shrink wrap didn't work, so I had to manually place it there. And with some proportional editing, I got it done, you could say. But to be honest, I wasn't so happy with the model. I wasn't so happy with the design. There's this other design I made, and I was proud of it. That's mostly because I didn't have the extrusions, which play a major role in how the shading and the eyes were placed. It was just a spear on the other one with texture paint, but this actually had some geometry that couldn't really work as well. Next, I just took a plane and got rid of all the vertices except one to extrude it and make a small mouth shape. I just filled in the gaps, and yeah, now we have a mouth. And I just apply the same texture that I use for the eyes. There you see me placing it on the face, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That looks horrible. I mean, that actually kind of look cute, but yeah, I don't know, I just like the smaller mouth for some reason. So yeah, that looked cute. I just had to make sure it all looked good. And also, it is very important you save your textures, otherwise you close the app and you come back to it, it's gone. So make sure you save the image on the texture paint tab or the painting tab. Yeah, you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, I'm really sorry. This is actually not the beginner's tutorial, but you know, it's pretty much a breakdown. And if you were to recreate it, and if you had some prior experience on Blender, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just staging it up a bit. We're just creating basic 3-point light setup using the blue for the rim light, and that is a full light. And I'm also sorry, there's an overlay on the top. So yeah, this is a full light, and the one on the top is the key light. And yeah, I just had to turn it over to, you know, get the camera in. I planned on posting it on Instagram, so yeah, thus the square. It looks really cute. It looks really cute, and I'm glad it turned out the way I wanted it to turn out. So yeah, that's just me trying out the lighting setups and making sure it's powerful enough and not that powerful, but yeah. So there you have it. That's how you make a cute cactus on Blender. That was just a quick breakdown. If you want the full video, it is available on my Buy Me a Coffee page, which is linked below on the description. Also, all the textures and the blend file will also be included, so you know, and it's free. You can check it out. Also, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps. Thanks.